Hello everyone and welcome to a new video from Your Overwatch. I'm Eddie the Chump, and today we've got a whole bunch of news for you guys, including the actual reason Hammond is called Wrecking Ball in-game, how LFG and endorsements has had a real impact on in-game toxicity, the Overwatch League coming to American TV, Jjoank being voted as the league's MVP, and Fissure being benched from the Gladiators. There's a lot to get through, so let's just crack on. First, let's talk about Hammond's in-game name, Wrecking Ball, and how it came to be. Well, one of the details from yesterday's fascinating concept art skin reveal was the real reason why he's definitively Wrecking Ball and not Hammond. When asked this question, Arnold Zhang gave a really interesting answer. It turns out that it's more to do with Hammond's self-actualization as a character. Hammond was the name the scientists gave him on Horizon, it's what the humans called him. But when he escaped and arrived in Junkertown and joined the scrapyard, he got the chance to name himself, and he chose the name Wrecking Ball as he thought it would fit with the badass mech fighting champion he would become. It was a vision of himself that he liked, kind of like a superhero or alter ego. Arnold even went as far to say that Wrecking Ball is what he prefers other people to call him. This reminded me of the Rick and Morty episode where the family pet Snuffles, who became sentient and also pilots a mech, chooses a name for himself and demands to be called Snowball henceforth, because his fur is pretty and white. I don't want to say it's definitely a reference, but it is funny nonetheless. So apparently if we keep calling him Hammond, he might take it as a sign of disrespect, and I don't know about you, but I don't think annoying an intelligent hamster with two autocannons in his proverbial pocket is a wise idea. Wrecking Ball it is then. There was also a lot of other great info in that reveal stream. Some highlights for me was getting a look into the two paths of design that brought Wrecking Ball to life. One was that Blizzard wanted to make a really cute character, and some of the ideations included a little robot monkey with a rocket launcher, which I'm a big fan of actually. And the other came from when they were designing Junkrat, or as he was known at the time, Demolitionist. There was a concept for that hero that looked like a bomb or round mech, and several ideations later they just called him Ball Guy, and that was the hero who had all the magnetic based powers that Kaplan spoke about in the Seagull interview. At some point, nobody at Blizzard can remember, they decided to merge the cute animal concept with Ball Guy, and initially Hammond was also a robot, like the earlier monkey concept, but they decided to go with an actual hamster as they thought that would be cuter. That eventually led to what we have today, and it's kind of amazing that we get to see how these heroes that we play get formed over a long period of time and iterative adjustment. I thought it was really cool. If you haven't watched the stream, it's available as a past broadcast on the Play Overwatch Twitch channel. There were also a couple of funny chat interactions during the 2 hours, with chat suggesting a number of skins that the designers seemed to enjoy themselves. One was the popular Disco Ball skin, and they even drew a small version of it complete with an afro. Someone else suggested a Jawbreaker skin, where Hammond's mech could essentially be made out of hard candy, and another was a skin that had a clear hamster ball for the mech. We won't know if the designer's positive reaction to these suggestions will ever materialize, but if I had to guess that one of them would eventually be made, it has to be the Disco Ball. He already has a mohawk in his Junker skin, and afro doesn't seem that far-fetched, and it would be a great piece of fan service from Blizzard. Let me know your Wrecking Ball skin ideas down below, I bet you can come up with some amazing ones. Our next bit of news is that on the forums, Kaplan has posted some interesting stats about the effects of LFG and endorsements on in-game toxicity, at least as far as abusive chat is concerned. He noted that the percent of matches with abusive chat in them is down by 26% on the US and 16% in Korea, and that the percent of daily players being abusive is also down by 28 and 21% respectively. He went on to thank players for making Overwatch a better place to be, and that they would continue to iterate on these social tools to make them better. Now there is one very noticeable gap in the stats, and that's the omission of the EU numbers, but Jeff said that's simply because they haven't managed to compile them yet, and when asked if they had any plans to update LFG, Jeff responded with a firm yes, saying they're going to have some important quality of life changes coming soon. The much requested persistent filters feature is on its way, which will save a lot of time from constantly having to reset them every time you want to make a small change to a group. Other features I expect to come at some point are an auto queue option, whereby you can set the group to enter the selected game mode as soon as all the roles are filled and confirmed, and easier regrouping options if one of your party members has to leave for whatever reason, necessitating you getting another person in. Endorsements could also use a little tweaking as well in my opinion, because at the moment, if you play with the same group all the time, you won't be able to maintain your rating as you can't vote for each other, either because you're on each other's friends lists, or if you are playing with a pickup group but the session goes on for a while with the same players in it, you can't endorse each other anywhere near as many times as players in solo queue can. They can basically do it every match. perhaps an endorsement in a group carries more weight, or if you're in a full stack, your decay rate is slowed down, something like that. It's not a huge deal, but it would be nice if it got addressed. Otherwise, you guys all know our feelings on the channel about LFG. We see it as a massive positive for the game, not only in terms of toxicity, but also in match quality. It's no surprise to us that these tools have had a positive in-game impact as well. If there's any really glaring issue with LFG or endorsements that I didn't mention, leave a comment talking about it down below. Next up, we've got some Overwatch League news, as not only have the playoffs just started, but there has also been some very juicy goings on. The first thing that we're going to cover is the fact that the Overwatch League has found a new home in US television broadcasting. ESPN, Disney, and the ABC family of networks will begin showing this year's playoffs, grand finals, and next year's season 2 in some fashion across all its services, which is massive news. Esports is becoming a much more regular part of traditional sports television, what with Turner Sports already covering CSGO and various fighting games with E-League. Blizzard have been at pains to engineer its product to be friendly to a mainstream audience, and this deal will surely make them feel like they're going in the right direction. The slickness of the league's production has always struck me as being modelled after those networks, such as ESPN, so it makes a lot of sense that they have sought after and confirmed a deal like this. As for whether it will be a hit for TV audiences who might not be as familiar with the game as Twitch and YouTube viewers are, the jury's still out for me. Overwatch is quite an involved game and does require a certain amount of audience literacy. It's not Dota or League, but it's not simple either. I really hope it does do well because I love the game, but I don't think success is an absolute foregone conclusion. What was a foregone conclusion, however, at least in a lot of viewers' minds, mine included, but I am an absolute fanboy, was the fact that Jjoank of the NYXL deserved to be the inaugural season's MVP, and that's exactly what happened. Jjoank destroyed the field in terms of votes as well, having 124 points overall, whereas the second place player, Fissure, had 59. What's incredible about this is that he's actually in his rookie season, having been denied his chance to play in Apex Season 4 when LW Blue was bought out and withdrew from the competition. He was very famous in the Korean rank scene, often being its #1 player, but up until the Overwatch League started, he was still an unknown quantity professionally. Virtually anyone can point to his stats and find ample reason for why he was so far ahead in terms of votes. His offensive power on Zen rivals a lot of the league's DPS players, and he's easily been the breakout star of this first season. I'm really happy for him, and he's a great example of what talent and hard work can do for you. NYXL player manager Andrew Kim noted in the article how much Jjoank still works on his game, stating that even after the Stage 3 finals and all his media responsibilities, he still went home and played even more. When asked if he ever gets tired or needs rest, Jjoank replied, "Playing Overwatch is rest for him." That tells you all you need to know. Congratulations, Jjoank, you thoroughly deserved MVP, and you make all us lower level Zens want to work that much harder. Next up, we've got some absolutely top tier league drama. Fissure is one of the most popular players there is, and he's been a huge part of why the LA Gladiators improved so much as a team and made the playoffs. However, with the playoffs came a new patch. New Hanzo is present for the first time, and it would have escaped nobody's attention that in the Gladiators quarter-final against the London Spitfire, Fissure, their main tank star, was nowhere to be seen. Slasher reported on Twitter before the match that Fissure wouldn't be playing, and that he was actually unhappy with his teammates not trying hard enough in scrims, and had then stopped communicating in them. This had made the team management decide to play iRemix instead. He then added that apparently Fissure has been unhappy since joining the Gladiators, and that his level of practice and commitment had been waning coming into the playoffs, which is the actual reason why he got benched, not his teammates' effort level. According to Slasher, apparently he wants out of LA and wants to move to an all-Korean roster. Well, this is where we now move over to Fissure's perspective, as he decided to stream to clear the air and directly confront Slasher's tweets. Big shout out to Robin311 on Twitter, who summarized Fissure's perspective into English. Fissure went on to say that firstly, he didn't know his absence would affect the community as much as it had. He said that LA had better success in scrims with iRemix, and that a more team-oriented main tank fits better in the meta. Perhaps this meta, where the main tank has to play very reserved to not get melted by new Hanzo, suits iRemix more than a player like Fissure, who is all about making plays. He might just not fit as well as he did in Stage 4. The team apparently told him if he didn't try harder, he could miss the playoffs, to which he said he wouldn't have any complaints about that. Addressing Slasher saying he wanted to move to a different team, he said that it's just his preference to have either a whole English-speaking roster or an all-Korean one, and that the team actually asked him if he wanted them to change the entire roster around him, to which he said it makes more sense just to trade him for an English speaker as he's only one player. Even if they did change the entire roster, it was unlikely the coaching staff would change along with it, so a language barrier would still exist. He didn't downright say he wanted out of the team, he just expressed his preference. He said this is how rumours get blown out of proportion, and that the only reason he hadn't spoken about this publicly beforehand was to avoid such a big blow up. He went on to say he only streamed to confront Slasher's tweets, and that he didn't want to show everyone how much better iRemix was in this meta, and that iRemix was a very good player in his own right. As you can probably tell, that's quite different to just wanting out and not trying. Since all this has happened, there's been quite a few tasty tweets back and forth between Fissure and Slasher, with Fissure saying that Slasher's source for all this was just his own thoughts. There was even one, which could easily be fake as it was just an image, I did try and double check by the way, but I couldn't find the original tweet, where Fissure apparently called Slasher fake news. Now he could have deleted that tweet, but I do ask myself, would Fissure necessarily know meme Trumpisms? It's probably fake, but funny nevertheless. Now, despite all the drama, this does raise an interesting question. If Fissure does want to be on an all-Korean roster for Season 2, the Seoul Dynasty appear the most likely candidates. What do you guys think to that? Would having such an alpha main tank help them with that roster's problems? Would Fissure put a fire underneath them and force them to be better? I half hope it happens just to see the result. At the end of the day, I don't think you can blame a player for wanting to be on a team where communication is much easier, and I'm sure the allure of playing for South Korea's only team in the league is quite appealing to many other Korean players on other rosters as well, not just Fissure. Let me know what you guys think of the whole Fissure drama. Was Slasher in the wrong? Was Fissure at fault? To the comments, everyone. And that's about it for today, guys. I really hope you enjoyed the video. Will you be calling Wrecking Ball by his preferred name, or will you risk the ire of the most dangerous hamster in existence? Rather you than me. If you never want to miss another video of ours again, please click the bell icon next to the subscribe button on our channel to join the notification squad. You'll be in great company. And finally, please follow the Your Overwatch Twitter. It's where you can find updates about new videos and other cool stuff. I've been Eddie the Chump, and until next time,